Today on the channel, I'll be looking at the WYBOT F1 robotic pool skimmer right after this. So this pool cleaner is a little different than the typical ones you'd see where it's kind of like tanks that drive around on the bottom of the pool. This actually cleans just the surface of your pool. You drop it in, it drives around, and it collects everything in a debris basket inside of the robot. Now it has a built-in lithium-ion battery, but it charges off of the sun. So as it drives around, it will charge. Now it does have a charging port here that you can use to wall charge it, but they don't unfortunately include the charger with this. So you have to basically rely on the sun to do it, which shouldn't be too bad because this has like a 33 watt solar panel, and it will charge the lithium ion battery pretty quickly is my understanding. Now I've just been using it one day, so I haven't had a chance to actually set it out today and let it recharge the battery yet. Now you have a power button right here, and when you hold this down for 3 seconds, this rear light will come on. It'll go blue, and then it goes into working mode, and you actually hear the motor start up here if we do it. And now you can see we got a blue flashing light. When it goes solid, it's ready to be put into the water. There's a green that will tell you if it's charging, and then there is a purple that basically flashes to let you know that you're connected to the app, because that's what I wanted to mention next. I'm going to go ahead and press this again, and it goes red, and it should turn it off. You can connect to the app, and I'll put a screenshot up here of the app, the WYBOT app. That's going to connect by Wi-Fi. It also says it has a Bluetooth option if you don't have a Wi-Fi signal to your pool. It'll let you control the robot. And you, by default, it will be working in a smart mode. That was where it will drive around, and it will kind of start and stop so that it's charging the battery, because you have to charge it whenever you're moving around. I'm gonna sit down here, guys, my foot's hurting. But you're gonna drive around, it's gonna drive around and use the sun to charge it. Now there's also a standard mode you can switch to. Now the standard mode, it will just work nonstop, and it's not going to worry about charging the battery. It'll go until it's dead, and then it will sit there and wait till it's charged up again, and then it will go again. There's also a remote control mode. That can come in handy if you got something the robot just keeps missing. You can steer it with the app. Now there's a little bit of delay because you're going over the Wi-Fi, but I was able to use it yesterday, and you'll see that in the whenever I show you the app here in a moment. You can actually manually steer it with the app. Now you can also start and stop cleaning in the app, and you can tell it to come over to the wall so you can actually pull it out of the water, because they give you a little plastic hook here, and this is what you're going to connect to your swimming pool, the pole, and you can pull it out of the water if it's a little too far away, or maybe you just don't want to lean over and try to pull it out with your hands. They also give you a quick start manual here, and it does have a QR code to that app. So this is basically all you do need, but they have a full manual as well. This will tell you a little better information here, and it's well written. Here's some of the description of the light patterns to let you know on the lights whenever it does fire up. Now there's a couple small cons I have to mention about this robot, and it's basically things I've already mentioned. One, the lack of an actual physical charger. Supposedly you can buy this online, because if you use the wall charger, you could set this outside. It doesn't have to be in the water, and you can charge it up. So if it's like a cloudy day and the robot's got a low battery, what are you gonna do? Because you don't have the sunlight to charge the battery. Without that, you have to rely on the sunlight. So that's kind of an unfortunate thing, because that kind of leads me to the other point is, I don't like that I have to set it into the pool to charge it, and it has to be cleaning. What if I just want to charge it all the way up? Even if I don't have the wall charger, it'd be nice if you could just set this robot out and just let it charge in the sun sitting on the concrete like this. And as far as I understand, and the way it describes, you can't do that. Like, it needs to be actually in the water. It seems like it kind of detects the water, and it's gonna start charging while it's in the water. If you live in a sunny climate, most people with pools do, that's probably not a big deal, but I wish they did have an included charger. And the robot is a little weird about turning off. Like, I think, again, it's kind of, it's pretty smart detecting if there's inactivity, because if I turn this off, sometimes it kind of like it comes on. It's kind of weird because if I go into the app many times, I can still see that I'm connected, even though I thought I long pressed to turn it off. But I just, I did that long press of 3 seconds, the lights were out, and I just stayed out of the app. And that yesterday, after hours of sitting there, I went in and it was absolutely completely turned off. But when I went to grab it a while ago and picked it up, it turned itself back on without pressing the button. It's almost like it detected a movement. But it does seem like if you just let the robot go and you don't mess with it, it will completely turn itself off. And that's important for storing it for the winter. Just want to make sure that it's a little weird about turning off, because you may see it like turn itself back on. You're like, what is it doing? It's really kind of weird. Anyway, let's get this robot into the pool and I'll show you guys how it cleans. So you do a long press, the blue, you can hear the motors firing up there. And then we're just gonna toss it in the water here. And you may have to push it down to get some of the air out and get it level, and then it will start driving around. So let's get to that footage now. Okay, so we just had a storm move through a while ago. And as you guys should be able to see, there's quite a bit of junk on the top of the pool. Storms are always the worst, and you get a bunch of junk in the pool. And that's where I'm hoping this robot's gonna really come in handy, rather than having to mess with the pole and the net. So I'm going to put it in the water and we're just going to let it go. Now, I've not connected the app yet, and we will go over that here shortly. But I'm going to go ahead and just put it in with that default mode. And then once we get the app connected, it'll actually turn this bar to purple to let us know that the app is connected. At least that's what the instruction manual says. So I'm going to come around here and we're just going to hold the power button for 3 seconds. And we got the blue bar here lit up. Now you want to go ahead and get it into the water, because if you don't, it starts to turn on while it's outside of the water. So we're just going to set it in here, and then it should start up here in a moment once it sinks and levels out to the surface, because it has to kind of drop down a bit here. It's still sort of let's just kind of push this back down and get the water in right, because you want to get the water into it. And then it should start to go once we get the air out of it. Now we got it going. Just had to get it, like I said, it's the first time in the water, so to get some air bubbles out. Now it's kind of turning around, and it should just drive around the pool here until we, until it gets to the point where it's at low battery, which if it's of enough sunshine, it may never get to low battery. You just take it out whenever you're ready to have it clean. But if it does go to low battery, it'll pull up along the side. It'll go and stop. And then you pull it out with that hook. Let's just kind of see what it does here. It's kind of bumping up against the side. Now it's letting up because it's sensed that it's reached the side. And it should turn itself around. Again, this is not as quick as your floor robots, because it's going along the surface. But I'm hoping we'll get a lot of junk in that reservoir. And again, we got some sunlight here now since the storm's passed, so it should be charging the battery once it needs to, but I suspect this battery is already pretty fully charged. And we can see we have a slow blinking blue light. And it's just going to kind of drive around again. It's just random. So I'll check back a little later here once this is done cleaning. We'll see, did it get all the junk off the top of the pool? And we'll see if it's all collected inside of there. So far, I'm pretty impressed, because it is doing exactly what it said it would do. And again, it's going to kind of alter its cleaning to fit with the current conditions. Right now we have sunlight, so that battery is definitely charging. That's why the light's flashing. Okay, so we're in the WYBOT app. If I go back to the main screen, you'll see here that it has my WYBOT F1 here, which I went through and added. Now, when you first install the app, and it'll find your robot, and at that point you do need to go through a little setup with your 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It does not use 5G, so you have to use 2.4. And it's better. 2.4's got better range anyway. Now it does mention if you're connected by Bluetooth, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can see it has a Bluetooth and a Wi-Fi signal. I didn't do any Bluetooth setup, and whenever I go into my Bluetooth settings on my phone, it doesn't show that the WYBOT is connected. So I assume it is just using the Wi-Fi. So if I press on it, you can see that we are in the cleaning mode, and it's using smart mode like I said it would. Now at the top you can see that it's at 49% battery, so I assume the battery actually wasn't fully charged, like I said, and it is using the solar panels to charge it, though it's showing the light blue because it's in the cleaning mode. And it says it's online. Below that you have your stop cleaning, so I can press that and it'll just stop and sit there. And then a pickup mode will drive until it detects it's run to a wall, and that allows you to pick it up with your hand or using the hook on your pole. Below that we of course have the smart mode and the standard mode. Again, standard mode will just get constantly clean until the battery goes dead, and the smart mode is going to adjust its cleaning to the current sunlight conditions. And then below that we have the remote control, and this is just going to let you control it with the virtual joystick. So if you see some debris that's missing for whatever reason, you can manually drive it over there with the app. Okay, so I switched to my head cam so I can show you guys the app when I use it to actually control it. And as we can see there, it is still flashing blue. Now if I were to go to stop cleaning, it should stop here. But you can see it did stop. It did stop moving. Then I just want to go to the remote control and I can remotely control it. Now we have some green light flashing, so it has switched to the charging mode. And I can just remotely drive it around here. Let's see, is this right? Yeah. Took a little time getting, the orientation on the app. Some of the buttons were just all going the same direction, but all of a sudden it started working right. So I can use the app here, and now I'm turning it back. I'm just trying to let you guys see both. And I can just drive it around and try to let's see if I could drive it over here and turn it around and try to get that flower petal. The problem is there's a delay because you're on Wi-Fi. So even though I was giving it input to turn around, it was all the way, whenever I let off on it, it kept going. So I'm going to try to drive it forward here. I can get that little piece of stuff. Oh no. I'm going to try to give it some. Well, I'm going all the way around. I gave it the wrong input. Oh, are we going to luck out? I think we got it. Did we get it? Oh yeah, we got the flower. We've got about 46% battery right now, and we're just gonna let it go and see how much this junk it can get. So a little later, we'll end this video after we pull it out of the water and just see how much junk was collected in the basket. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, it's been at least an hour we let the robot go. As you know, it wasn't fully charged whenever we put it into the pool. So right now it's just sitting there. It is still powered on. I can still see it in the app. And it says start cleaning. So it's like it's stopped, I believe, because the battery's down to 32%. But the power is still on, and that rear light will occasionally flash blue a few times. I believe they're just kind of waiting there because it needs to charge more. There the blue light's flashing a bit. But we don't have really any sunlight right now. It's getting later in the day and it's cloudy from those storms, so it can't charge the battery enough. So it's just kind of sitting in like a power saving mode is what I believe. Because now what I would do is I'm just going to tell it to pick up and have it drive to the side. But as you can see, it's floating so close, I can just grab it anyway. Let's go ahead and just press the pick up. And now the motors will turn on. Let me just walk under the slide here. And it's just going to kind of drive, and the lights turn yellow here until it bumps the side. So now I can just pick it up and let the water out, and I can see a bunch of debris in the back of the filter. And I'm just going to set the robot down here, and I'm going to go ahead and press that power button here to turn it off. And now the power's turned off so it doesn't try to run while it's out of the water. And then we're just going to go in here and clean the filter. I had a message popping up that it's lost connection because, of course, the robot is turned off. But I don't know how well this will show up in the head cam, but there's a bunch of junk in the back here. Now, not everything that was on top of the water is going to be in the robot because we do have our built-in pool skimmer. And it's going to be picking up some of that stuff as well. But like I said, a lot of the junk ends up down here by my steps, and it doesn't ever make it to the built-in pool skimmer. So what you do here, I'll just sit down on the ground, and if If you hear any noise in the background, I got my regular robot pool cleaner in cleaning the bottom. But you're going to pull out this little swivel handle. You're going to pull out the whole filter. And there's the junk it got. Now, of course, it's not going to be the same debris you'd get in your traditional pool cleaner. I guess I didn't turn it off. I thought I turned it off, but there it sounds like it's powering on or something. I don't know. But anyway, what you're going to do is you want to take this front piece off. This you pull up on this is what you're doing. I was pushing down. You actually pull up on that. See how easy that is? I was pushing down. So you don't need to push down. Just get your fingernail or a screwdriver and just lift up on this, and this front piece comes off. And now you get a better idea of what's all inside of there. And again, this is different than what you typically have on the bottom because you're gonna have lightweight stuff that's floating, but a decent amount of stuff in there. And this is lightweight stuff like flower petals and stuff would go into the traditional built-in skimmer. Like I said, it tends to collect on one end of our pool and it never makes it in there, and I have to end up getting it all out with my pole and my net. So you just wash this out with your hose, and then you just snap. Then when you're done, you're just gonna snap this back on, press it in, and then you can go ahead and set it into your pool and turn it back on if there's sunlight. All right, guys, I think that wraps up the review of this WYBOT robotic pool skimmer. If you want interested in this, there'll be a purchase link down in the description in the pinned comment, so you can pick up this robot, because WYBOT's a really good brand, and I'm impressed with this so far. If you're new to the channel, you like tech stuff as well, RC stuff like this, be sure to subscribe. Click the bell that way you're notified when I upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.